Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the Bitcoin charts for Asia. So a day later, and we've slightly dropped below this yellow dotted line. What is this daily yellow dotted line? It's a daily support and resistance level, which has multiple touches across multiple days, across multiple times in the charts, including somewhere back in 2020 of December 27th, 26th, and 29th of 2020. So this is kind of the point of control. We're slightly beneath that and at the point between that and the point of control. And where does the liquidity stand for Wednesday? Bitcoin held up pretty well to the larger markets, the risk-on assets of NQ and everything taking a tumble to the dollar's strength. So we'll see how it goes into Wednesday, September 27th. Let's go into high block capital. What is high block, you say? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those crispy characters lie in wait. So let's do that now. So essentially they ping pong back and forth, alluding to a bottom and giving bounce 1, bounce 2, and just letting the 100xers accumulate on both sides, and they kept hitting out the shorts. Does that mean they're going to make another leg down onto the 100xers, which are unscathed on the longs, or head up into those pools we talked about up here? 188 million at 26,583, 26,850, 161 million there, 188 million partner in crime at 25x at 27,104. On the 1 minute time frame, you're imbalanced to the tune of $1 million. You always forget stuff to father time, which is why we need to expand our vision to the higher time frame pools. So let's do that now. So the higher time frame pools, first and foremost, we got to switch our liquidity to max liquidity because high block changed that for whatever reason. Anyway, going into the 7-day, you do have more up above in terms of single digit pools, so basically about a $10 to $15 billion amount up to the 27.6 region, and less below. So the imbalance on the 7-day is to the upside. Do they go and grab those pools percolating on the shorts up there or not? We did outline those regions where they would go to. We'll get into that in a minute. On the monthly time frame, you have a double digit pool of about 36 billion up to 28.3, another double digit 10 billion pool at 27.6, and some single digits, one double digit down at 24.8, and single digits on the way at 25k. Imbalance on the monthly is also to the upside, that percolating pool just above the August 29th high that they could attack at some point. When you start to shift your narrative to the 3-month and the 6-month, you see what the holdup is about with these double-digit pools of imbalance down below at 23.6. Once again, on the 6-month, you have a $168 billion pool down at 24.3, and $100 billion characters also on top of that, so totaling 470 something billion down below to the tune of 23.4. Going to the highest time frame at the 2-year, you do have that $258 billion percolating at 23.6. We did talk about that 24.4, 241 billion before they came down to it. So it was not a surprise that they would be interested in coming there. So it's not a surprise if they go to 23.6, is it? So with that in mind, let's go into the monthly imbalance and then go into the Binance chart to not waste more time with fluff and impersonations and all that stuff. So here we go. Okay, so the 236 at 27k is what we were talking about with this impulse retrace for a downside projection. You cannot maintain that 27k, you're going down, and sure enough, we came down. Broader markets also took a tumble yesterday. Just to reiterate, Wednesday could complement that idea. We're going to see what these little curvatures were and why we had price in this manner, and what this 236 meant for holding, which we did not hold, which meant more downside ensuing. We need to throw on our oscillators to do that, so let's do that now. Heads up display is on, link is in the description for more, momentummaster.info. Scroll down to features, you can toggle everything at your leisure to take a look at Bitcoin at its bottom before we knew it was a bottom at 15k, and all the components that we were looking at on the suite. Alright, so most notably now we're at the cloud. We are failing the cloud on the daily time frame. In the next 46 minutes, do we close this beneath the cloud and start to make more of a descent down to the 25,889 Fibonacci retracement level, which we have yet to hit, or not? Let's go ahead and remove this channel really quick. Whoa, what? So essentially here, you're also getting a cross down event on the daily time frame. Our previous cross up saw its time in the sun, and now we're getting a cross down event insinuating we could get more downside. If we go into the 3-day, you're getting a cross up. You had the cross up and you're starting to hold the baselines. The cloud is getting mighty thin, so even if you come up to this 28k pool we were talking about on the monthly here at 28.3, these double digits up here, if you come up to the 28.3 region, you could fade off of this cloud because the tapering of this angle suggests you just would be recovering this vector, but who knows. Let's go into the daily once again and look at the oscillator. Daily stochastic is coming down here with the money flow above the RSI, suggesting the dump could continue further. Williams about to cross and potentially come down. Rarely does it reset in this place, but if you get a false takeoff here, we've been to those zones where it does fizzle out around the 50 region. Let's go into the 22 hour and see if there's anything percolating on the broken time frames. You may notice some other prominent streamers use my 22 now without giving a nod, but there's a method to the madness for those. The unsyncopated rhythm of that beat of the 22 closes a 22-hour candle and a 2-hour candle, creating some data information where stochastic resets and things like this occur here first, so you can get in a sniff, an insinuation of potential upside on that broken unsyncopated beat. Getting the cross down here was one of those, and then we had this crossing down. So we're not really reclaiming these levels just yet. So the 22, while the cloud is thick here, you are bursting down beneath it, and we could see more downside. But the Williams and the stochastic and the money flow suggesting we get a 22-hour bounce at some point. Midweek reversal Thursday, perhaps. Let's see if Wednesday continues the play to the downside or not. This 236 did not hold, so we're going to flash to that really quick to show what we were showing yesterday, and then I can delete it and start fresh. So yesterday we were talking about you need to, essentially we were around here, we were saying you need to come above the 236 and hold it in order for this projection to play out. Now, one thing you could have noted for a short idea would be this idea here, where we came up and basically bearishly retest this thinning cloud. So it works on both sides. If you hold the cloud, you have this potential to go higher if you hold, and conversely, if you do this to the downside, it's the opposite. You can use Alt-I to just flip your charts. It doesn't matter which side, it really doesn't. So this was a clue that we were privy to during the London handoff leading into New York. You failed retaking of the cloud, and sure enough, cloud rejection, bleed out. Rest is history. It was a little bit choppy. I wouldn't have wanted to be in that trade, but yeah, it played out nonetheless. So we're going to delete this because that impulse is over, and we're going to go back to the 12-hour now. And we can delete this angle for the cloud. I'm going to keep this one because this is kind of cool. Yeah, so this is the daily cloud that we're currently flirting with the idea, and the 12-hour time frame baselines, the money flow beneath the RSI here, suggesting a wind-up pitch to the upside perhaps. You got a little bit more time for this average of the Williams to come down a little bit further, create a double bottom oversold event. That could also mean another liquidity grab before the divergence forms to come out again. But you're getting to that oversold point on the subtle time frames of the medium 12-hour. The 6-hour also doing the same, but you got a cross-up event, and the baselines are ever so tight in terms of wanting to hold price action for a potential 6-hour bounce. You're at the 50 level for an ambiguity of whether it wants to hard reject or hold and go higher. The crossing up of the rising sun event has led to a flat angle here, not really the best look for it. 4 hour time frame, got overbought while essentially going sideways. Do you get this double top scenario for the last hurrah here? Does this bring you up before you come down? The level in which we are at on the stochastic is not the best place. However, when stochastic get pinned by the higher time frames like the 6 and the 12, these ones could take this up for a double top. The money flow and the RSI tight could go either way, and it needs to, if it's going to go up, it would need to come back above the 50 level. Otherwise, we're bearishly retesting and going a little bit further down on the 4 hour. 4 hour cloud suggests more downside. We're going to delete this box real quick. And this was the angle we were seeing. This was the thing we drew on Saturday, I believe, when we were going sideways. We were seeing this angle and this thinning, and we said if we come up to this point, we could see a ABC to the downside. And sure enough, we got it. We were off by $40 because they didn't come up to that pool, but the idea was also good. And then if you go to the 6 hour, this insinuation of this curvature of that cloud also led into the future of that bleed out. So we can delete those. They're in the past now, but it's kind of cool that we were preempting that with the trend cloud. This would be your trend cloud formula, volume weighted formula that shows that move before it occurs. And then when you start to reclaim the cloud of the Clan McCloud and then you hold it, then boom, you could see this reversal of shift in the market. So 6 hour cross up event holding here in a manner. Looking at the 4 hour, also crossed up and doing a potential double bottom. So watch out for that. Do we get some sort of bounce? The angle of the cloud here does not show any signs of abating just yet on the 4 hour. Once again, this is Wednesday. Wednesday tends to complement Tuesday, traditionally speaking. If you look at Thursday, that's the midweek reversal time, so maybe you see Wednesday lead into a liquidity grab, come down into this pocket, maybe a pool down below here that we lined up at 25.7 region and potentially go higher at that point. I don't know. 1 hour time frame is starting that shift already, but you're bearishly retesting and rejecting, not reclaiming the cloud here. If you go to the 15 ambiguously trying to hold the line here as it starts to shift and fade. A lot of chop, not as clear of a signal as of this moment in time. So once again, we held this 236. We talked about the 236 needing to hold if you were going to see any bullishness. It did not from Thursday the 21st, and we burst down below, continued over the weekend. So you have 1, 2, I'd expect at least one more for a potential reversal idea to come in. So where does that stand for the levels? Well, it's essentially unchanged because the levels are the levels. We haven't really changed this impulse out, so the Fibonacci retrace idea is still valid here, coming down into this pocket and watching for a reaction off the pocket. Do we get some divergence of some kind? As it stands right now, we did have some divergence on the money flow from here. Do we get some continued divergence where we make a lower low into the pocket while maintaining this higher low on the RSI or the money flow? Then you could get another divergence play for a sweep up to those levels of the shorts on the 1 minute and above time frame. All right, so let's go into the dollar real quick and see what the dollar's doing. Dollar's breaking up above these levels. We talked about this idea of just being in this channel. So even though we were looking for a retrace down, it could just basically find support on this channel area and just continue its merry way into external liquidity, as it can be more illogical than anyone. They basically take profits on these assets and then invest them into the dollar. They being the Fed, as they said that's what they would be doing a few months back when they talked about when they were not going to raise rates, but they would be taking profits on their risk on asset portfolio that they have. If you listened carefully, they talked about they would be trimming up in the tops here. And that's what they do. They reinvest it back in the dollar, and that causes the dollar to rise, so on and so forth. The VIX saw some volatility. My dad was talking about that volatility of the VIX. Watch it. And we've been seeing some volatility on the VIX, basically like a fear and greed index for the legacy market. We had a rocket ship on the 15th, and boom, to the upside. As NQ had a nuke up here. It appeared on an hourly time frame, so we can show you that. So we had these accurate nukes up here that basically predicted the dump of the NASDAQ before it happened. Pretty cool. And yeah, if you go to the where NASDAQ is now, we've been seeing this tumble back below the 236, coming back down here, possibly coming to the fib levels of the bearish nature down here at some fair value gaps too, at the 706 at 14,604, breaking that 15K threshold and maintaining the intention to go lower. And yeah, we have some news. Basically, the Fed is kind of broke, and they're doing some budget meeting or something where they're going to close down. So that's kind of where the bearishness is setting in over the markets. The broader people don't want to be in the trade to see where that goes necessarily. So a lot of people going flat. So they retrace down into the liquidity. The total market cap for crypto coming down to the 786 of the bearish nature. We've been in this consolidation range for quite some time, since August 18th. Broke above it a little bit, but immediately came back down, broke beneath it a little bit, came back beneath it. So we've been in this 0.65786 region. Do we make it down to this bearish projection down below? That would be like, this is just trash B consolidation wave to go lower. I don't know. That seems to be the case. It's holding this bearish trend-based fib to go in that region. So we'll see. We will see. Actually, this should be down here. I don't know why it was up there. Strange, which means this changes slightly. All right, still the levels hold fairly nice. Wicked off it. Wick. So coming back down to the 786 perhaps, and below. Let's go to the Bitcoin dominance and then bid you adieu. Bitcoin dominance and USTD dominance. So the Bitcoin dominance dropping in a manner here. There is this equilibrium reclaiming and then dropping below. Are we essentially basically coming to the top of the channel and rejecting back down into these regions? Technically, this is a bullish Bitcoin dominance projection here that we rejected off the 786, and we're coming back below. Are we coming back for a retest of that 236 level? Would make sense to me. We've previously been bullish. The dominance proceeding ever since November. Basically, Bitcoin has been stealing the show. If it comes back here and the dominance subsides and the USDT dominance goes down, then people will have, if Bitcoin dominance goes down and the USDT dominance goes down, most likely the USDT is going into alts. If Bitcoin dominance goes down and USDT dominance goes up, then you have Bitcoin potentially dumping and kicking people into USDT. So does USDT dominance want to go up here is the question. So far, the cloud on the 6 hour is insinuating more upside. You are getting a cross down event on the 6 hour. 6 hour is reset here though, so you could be seeing a surge up. That would insinuate that 6 hour play getting suppressed on Bitcoin, even though it is oversold. 4 hour wants to play here, play ball 2, getting this cloud coming up here. So if you start to come back up in a manner here, that could kick out some people into USDT. If we go to the 1 hour, 1 hour getting some bearish divergence on the money flow, attempting to hold despite that. Cloud is slightly bearish, you're above it, but the angle is coming lower. You could get this little flip of that. See how the hourly holds, and going to the 15. Coming above the cloud. Does it hold it at this current level? This 8.12% is a daily level that we've had for some time, or I wouldn't have put it here. And yeah, can we flip this and see if there's more people getting knocked out as we drop lower? Okay, let's wrap it up in a nutshell and bid you adieu. So the 4 hour time frame, cloud still pointing to the downside, slightly starting to curve here, but no signs of thinning or curvature as of yet. Similar to here, when we saw this curvature, it preempted this move to the downside. Do we get that curvature or this cloud coming down and curving more? We could just go sideways. We could go a little bit lower and create a consolidation range from here to here, similar to what we did over the weekend from last Thursday to Monday. So we could just be creating a range as this comes down. We'll see how Wednesday treats us. As of this moment, no real sniper entries to look at. I'd look for a better liquidity grab down in these pockets. If you were trying to go long, there's no real entries here at this time. 4 hour looking to double top potentially with the 6 hour subtle support, but the subtle support of the 6 hour is flat at the 50 range. It could hard reject off of this now, with the Bitcoin, with the USDT dominance looking to go up on that 6 hour, suggestive that it rejects actually. So we could get this push up, but you're getting the money flow above that though, so kind of an ambiguous point in the charts right now, not the clearest of signals. You get that sometimes. So with that in mind, we are observing, and we will outline the pools once again and then bid you adieu. So we have the 1 minute time frame pools, basically 26,583, you have 188 million up there. 26,850, 161 million, 50 extras up there. All this teal color is 50x. You have 100x partner in crime at 26,553, coinciding with the 188 million at 26,583. So that 26,583 region is kind of juicy looking. So 26,583. All right, so we'll mark that off. Put a little arrow there to see if it reclaims it. That is kind of a fair value gap here. If we zoom in, this little drop down yesterday, or no, over the weekend, Monday, so they could come back to that at some point, and the one they never got before. So does Wednesday double bottom do some sort of silly shenanigans down into this golden pocket or not? What is the reaction down in this region, if any? Okay. So going to the, you do have $10 billion pools down in this region here, 25.9, 25.8, 25.7, 6, 10, 20, 30, about 35 billion down in that 25.6 region. Wait, is that 25.6? Yeah, 25.6 is quite a drop down, but 25.6 would, yeah, put you down in the golden pocket region at the 706. So we got the 25.7 marked off there. This $9 billion. So if you go down to grab this and create a wick, divergence wick, you could potentially ride that up. I don't know the future, but if we're going to that 28K imbalance of double digits, that would be where you would see some divergence form, perhaps. Right now, not an interesting zone for me. It's what you would call the idiot box. Well, let's go say what's up to the chat. Thanks for the update. Good stuff. Nice. Thank you for stopping in. APV, CNC, Cluve. Thank you. And that is where we will bid you adieu. So look for a reaction off the golden pocket. Where did I get this level? Impulse to impulse here from the range top. And then I just set my templates. You know, you can do equilibrium. You can make it into a pocket. I had this 618 deeper retrace zone, and if it fades that, then we go into the deep retrace state, the deep state of the fib, and then it could go down into there. Don't like all the lines at once, so I create these little templates. All right, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it, folks. Thank you for coming on in to the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment, of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. We'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you for NQ Futures at the New York Live Open.